Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We are here for Monday market moves, what happened last week in the markets, and what I expect for next week. Alrighty, let's go to the charts. Starting out as always with the S&P 500. It is down 0.4% for the week. So a pretty interesting setup right here. If we look, we're kind of getting a divergence. So see how we've got higher highs here. I drew this trend line. We need 3 points to make a trend line. Anyone can draw it between 2 points, but you need minimum of 3 to establish a trend line. So we got one right here back in March, and then another one here middle of May, and then another one right here June 11th. So trend line right there. It's got to break through that. You got the 20 moving average coming up underneath it to catch it. 200 moving average shortly below that around 5,800. Rising price, decreasing RSI and MACD. So that's telling me that over the next few weeks, this is more likely to go down than up. That being said, there is a real chance that this thing never really correct. Like it could be that Liberation Day here was our correction. And that was a 20% sell-off. That could have been the correction that we've all been waiting for, and there isn't any real substantial correction. Like I'm kind of expecting a 40 or 50% drop in this thing over the next year or so. And there is a real case that that may never happen. And the reason is because of this. M2 money supply. So we learned, especially from our guest this week, and Greg Weldon. Let me take out some of these moving averages here so you guys can see this a little bit better. So the yellow line is, think of this as the currency supply. Okay, so M2 money supply. This is going back to 1959 here, right? So money supply chart go up, inflation go up. Okay, that's the way you can think of this. M2 money supply is a measure of the total amount of money available in the economy, including cash, checking deposits, easily convertible near money, and why it matters. M2 is closely watched by economists and the Federal Reserve, our heroes, the Federal Reserve, as an indicator of the money supply and potential inflation. A rapid increase in M2 can signal inflationary pressures, and we saw that. This is January 2020, and then right up here is April 2022. So rapidly increasing money supply, inflation go up, right? A decline or slowdown in growth can indicate tightening credit or economic contraction, and that makes sense because that's what we saw here when they're raising rates, right? Now, we zoom out on this a little bit. Let's go to the monthly here. So right here, it's just absolute party time with the currency, and I think we're entering into what will be another, let me shrink this down. I think it's going to continue to do this, like little short jaunts of like we just had a little slowdown from tightening, then more currency creation, then a little slowdown and tightening, and then currency creation, right? Just enter upside down clown world. So this is just my guess, but it would make sense. It goes right in line with what all our guests are saying. Okay, Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let me bring these back up. Okay, and daily, boom. Okay, there we go. All right, same kind of thing here with the Dow Jones. So see how we have rising price and we have lowering RSI and an angling down of the MACD. So that's kind of forecasting that I think it's more likely that this goes down than goes up. The Dow Jones is down 1.3% for the week. Let's see, I actually reversed this now. So gold divided by the Dow Jones, and I did that because all the other ones that I have here, I put gold first, and for whatever reason, this one I put Dow Jones first. So now this is the same chart as all the weeks before. It's basically just flipped, right? It's just upside down. So now as chart goes up, gold does good, right? And as chart goes down, Dow Jones does good, gold does bad, right? Okay, so we could see that we got a bit of a double top rate here. Right now it takes to get 1 ounce of gold will buy you 8.2% of 1 share of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So as gold investors, we want this chart to go up. All right, and gold outperformed the Dow Jones by 4.5% this week. So The dollar. Now, this one's exciting here. Well, I guess it's not too exciting if you're an American. The DXY is down 1.1% for the week. So pretty much the same thing as last week. This is probably due for a little short-term bounce. We got a decreasing price right here, increasing RSI, increasing MACD, showing a positive divergence. So I think it's more likely than not that the dollar will go up next week. Although I still think long-term, this thing is going down into the low 90s. And the 10-year yield lost about 2.2% compared to last week. Greg Weldon had some really good points on these bonds, and I'd highly recommend you check out that episode. So this one lost a little bit as far as yield, but the yield is still 4.4 for the 10-year. The 20-year is 4.91 and the 30-year is 4.9 even. I expect all of these to go up, and Greg gave a really good fundamental answer as to why. So I'm just kind of a TA chart guy. I'm like, yeah, that chart's going up. But he gave some fundamental reasons as to why that is so. 10-year yield minus the 2-year yield. Now, if we back up on this thing, excellent recession indicator. When we look back, I put all these pretty arrows up here. Anytime it got down below where short duration debt paid more than long duration debt, and then you have a reversal here, this was your recession right here as you came out of that upside down clown world. Same thing for here in 2000, same thing for here in the great financial crisis, a blip in time here for COVID. I don't even know if we can count that one. And this one was massively under here. Now we're in this upward channel right here, but it hasn't really had that spike takeoff that some of these have had. It's a little bit more kind of steady and slow over here, but I do expect one day we're going to wake up and this thing is just going to rocket up, but we'll see. And the 1-month treasuries are no longer paying 4.3%. They are now paying, I'm rounding here up, actually, I'm giving them a little grace. They're now paying 4.2%. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to look at the CME Fed Watch Tool. Thank you to the gentleman over there for always putting this together. And the Fed is having their meeting in 3 days. So what is that, Wednesday? On June 18th. That is Wednesday, right? I'm not crazy. Yes, Wednesday. And traders believe there's a 99.6% probability that they will pause and continue rates here at 4.25 to 4.5. July is when some traders are finally jumping on board, thinking that they're going to start cutting 25 basis points. And then it's not until September, the September 17th meeting, that the majority of traders now think that they will have established some kind of cut. Okay? So it makes sense that the short-term rates are dropping kind of in anticipation of that. Yeah, your cash is not paying as much as it used to, which means that you got to find good investments that are going to outpace inflation so that groceries for you get cheaper instead of more expensive. US dollar divided by the Canadian dollar. So we broke through that 1.36 line that I had drawn. There was quite a bit of support there. The next thing to catch it down here, so as this chart goes down, the dollar gets stronger and the Canadian dollar gets weaker. Next line of support I see is right down here, 1.345. Okay, was the closest I could get it, 134.5. Yeah, that's where I see that as the next level of support. I don't really see much to catch it there until then, and that would go in line with why we see the dollar's going up, or the DXY is. I see that going up, and I see the Canadian dollar going down over the next week. And gold is up 3.2% for the week. So this is pretty exciting. If you look at, okay, so the right side of these bars right here, maybe it's easier if you see the candle. The right side of the green candles are where it closed. Now we closed a new weekly all-time high and a new daily all-time high. Okay, when you look at the close. Now, this is not intraday. We got all the way up here to 3509, but as far as a daily and a weekly all-time closing high, we just did it. And that is $3,450. $52.80. Pretty snappy, if you ask me. Looks to me like it's going to go up next week. Gold divided by the S&P 500 is up 3.6% for the week as opposed to last week. So I think gold will continue to outperform the S&P 500 here. And we had a rock star lineup last week of guests. We had Lobo Tigre, Rick Rule twice, once on this channel and once in the classroom, but I posted his other video yesterday, and Greg Weldon. Next week's interviews, we have Garrett Goggins coming out tomorrow. I actually interviewed him on Friday. He's all about gold juniors. That's pretty much all we talked about. A lot of opportunities in gold junior stocks. Tremendous opportunities. Going to be the best gold juniors. Piles of money. Michael Oliver will be on Wednesday. So get your questions in for Michael. Submit your questions under the post tab. I also put a submit questions on our Twitter feed, so you can submit your questions there, or just join the free newsletter and you'll find the link in there. And thank you for playing. I love, instead of me trying to guess what you guys want me to ask, you simply tell me and then I ask the guest. So that it goes both ways. So thank you guys for that. And CEF, physical gold and silver on the stock market, up 3.2% for the week. So if you're new to the show and you want to get into precious metals, this is a real easy way to do it. This is where you start. I like first entry points on this red line right here, maybe a 10 or 15% position. If it corrects back down, I don't think it will next week. I think actually next week this might go up unless silver gets slammed. Then because this is about half gold, half silver. So unless silver gets slammed, then this will come back down. But yeah, I like this red line here as an entry point. A little bit of a trend line, you could get a retrace here. And if it happens quickly, that'll line up with the 20 and the 50-day moving average. Not necessarily the 20, but the 50. After that, $28 and then $26.50 for a stink bid. And PHYS, physical gold on the stock market. We got a triple top kind of ironing out right here, so pretty exciting. But I still like, move this one up a tiny bit. I raised it up 25 cents. So first limit order at 24.25 now. Second at 23, and then third at 21.50. I would, if you're impatient, I would pay attention to this 50-day moving average. Rising 50-day moving average. I don't think we're going to get the big pullback in gold like I thought. I think this is kind of steadily climbing, or even just kind of consolidating sideways, maybe 100, 150, 200 bucks at a time. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. And GDX is up 5.5% for the week. Looks like it's going higher. I mean, we got a little double top right there, but a pretty bullish looking bar there on Friday. Limit orders, I like it 46 bucks, 41.50, and $36. I probably need to raise these, although we do have some pretty good washouts sometimes in this. I'm a little hesitant to raise it up, but $36. I like the green lines here as like maybe a 15% chance of hitting, and I don't think we have a 15% chance of $36 hitting. I think I need to move this up to maybe like 39 or 40 bucks. But anyhow, Dr. Melvin says, "Hi Steve, love your show and listen to it every Monday morning when I wake up here in Asia. Any thoughts about the announcement from Van Eck that's going to reshuffle the GDX index on September 19th and how that might affect price moves now and then?" Very good point here. I don't think it was September 19th. I think it might be sooner here. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, maybe someone can look that up and put it down in the comments below. And some of the companies that are going to be really affected. He says Newmont's having a big allocation drop. G Mining is also being completely removed from the index. Garrett Goggin and I talked about this in brief on his interview. So be sure to check that out. It's coming out tomorrow. So check that one out. But let's start a little discussion in the comments down below, and we will dive into this deeper, because I think there's some money to be made here. Maybe on some short-dated puts or short-dated calls, GDXJ up 3.2% for the week. Some resistance now, but it looks like it might be going higher. Maybe watch for the 50-day moving average. Okay, that seems to be pretty well obeyed. I mean, going back here to February, hit there, hit around there, hit again. You know, maybe we get a correction down here. If gold's going up next week, then that's not going to matter. But, you know, keep an eye on it. And Franco, Nevada up 2.7% for the week. Last week, I said if you were impatient and you wanted the best gold royalty company on the planet, watch for the retracement down to the 61.8%. That hit. So that hit on Tuesday. Kind of cool. So it hit right down there on the 50-day moving average, bounced. You had 2 days to get in. Actually, the third day wouldn't have been bad either, and then now we're up. So that's one of my favorite setups, is looking at the Fibonacci retracement hitting the 61.8, and this one's the 50. That's not ideal. Ideally, I like it when it happens right here on the 200-day moving average, but this is one nonetheless, and hopefully some of you got in. And Gold Royalty Corporation killed it this week, up 12.8% on the week. Got absolutely smoking RSI, 79. There are no buys here. We should all be debating taking some profits probably. Since we got into this thing over 2 years ago, we are way in the black. Getting pretty stretched here, but if gold goes up even more, this will go up more. So we'll see. Origin royalties up 0.3% for the week. Still think anything below $1.30 is a good deal. I said a couple weeks ago we got a possible pennant forming up right here, and all that is this. So you got the pole kind of like that, and pennant, and it breaks to the upside. So if that actually plays out, then we have some pretty good targets here for this. I will use our little handy dandy tool right here, and you take from the bottom to the top, and then you stretch this over to the breakout, and that would bring us up to about $1.68, $1.70, somewhere in that ballpark. So we'll see if that actually plays out. But yeah, like this company a lot. And then also, so you guys know about the, if you don't, then watch the interview with Patty Nickel and me a couple of weeks ago. Triple Flag Precious Metals is going to be buying their Anglo Silicon Merlin asset. So Blaine, thank you, Blaine, for the donation, pointed out recently that there is some insider selling. So is this a possible red flag when the CEO and some management is selling some shares in the company? And I looked into this a little further. Looks like they sold about 6 million Canadian in shares in the last, I don't know, 3 months or so. The company's worth about 6 billion Canadian. So that is, what is that? 0.1% of the total company worth. So I don't really think this is anything to worry about. The CEO still owns something like 10 or 12 times his annual salary in stock. So I think we're good, but nice catch. We could always ask Rick about it in the Rule classroom, you know. So, oh, that reminds me, I will be getting on with Rick Rule this coming Thursday. Again, same bad time, same bad channel. Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be doing another question and answer with the master, so you guys can ask him anything you want. Maybe you want to know more about the Origin triple flag deal, huh? So my favorite spot. You can ask him anything you want. You know, anyone can watch. I'll even put the replay up on this channel a day or two later, but only students of the Rule Classroom Plus of the premium version can ask questions. So join us in the classroom. It's free, you know, or if you're a more serious investor and you want to pick Rick's brain directly in the Rule Classroom Plus, then links are down below. And Sensei via Twitter says, you two together have helped me double my 401k Roth in literally the past 12 months. So life things have me way behind on retirement, which is just around the corner, but I feel like I have a chance to hit my goals now squarely because of both of you. Got to get back over to the free Rule classroom. So much content there for anyone reading this. Thank you very much. This is one of the reasons I do this, and I know Rick does as well, is I like making money, and I like helping other people make money, because the more money you make, the more freedom you have to pursue that which makes you feel most meaningful. The more money you make, the more you can give away. It's just a really fun game, and I like it a lot. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And Baza says, I've been putting off joining the Rule Classroom. No idea why, but your recent interview reminded me I need to join. Thanks to both of you. Look forward to the live stream. Look forward to seeing you there, Baza. Links for the Rule Classroom, both free and premium versions, are down below. So I hope to see you there. All right, where are we? Barrick Gold, the new B, not G-O-L-D anymore, just B, Barrick Mining, I think is what they're calling it now. Yeah, Barrick Mining. I think it may take me a while. Like, I still call Twitter instead of X. I'm probably still going to call it Barrick Gold for the next year and a half until I finally catch on. All right, so pretty exciting here. We had a little breakout. So this $21 line was no small feat to break through, and we did. So we're going to delete it right there. Recently had a nice little double bottom down here around 1775. So you guys got in, and you're already up. What are you up? If you had it exactly on there, boom, almost 22%. Well done. See, had the courage and conviction to buy, and you got it. Okay, so now where do we see resistance coming in now? That's a decent amount of resistance, around 22 bucks or so. I see as a possible resistance, but this one is up 8.9% for the week, so super exciting. Another major here, Newmont, is absolutely killing it, coming up on some resistance here. Cup-ish pattern. I really don't like the V here. I've gone into that a whole bunch before, but anyways, up 10.6% for the week. So watch these October 2024 price levels. That's your main level of resistance right there, and it looks like the high side of those is at 58.70. Okay, Agnico Eagle, best gold miner on the planet, is up 5.5% for the week. So looks like we're going in for the triple top. We'll see if that actually hits or not. We'll see. I think gold's going up next week. I think this is going to blow through this triple top. We'll see what happens. But limit orders 105, 95, and 85. And B2 gold is up 2.7% for the week. So just tapped right here on this resistance line that I had at $3.80. I'm going to delete that. I don't want to hold this thing up at all. I got a long dated option on this, and I just want to see this graph go parabolic. So I'm going to get anything out of the way of B2 gold that I can, including that white line. Equinox gold is down 7.2% for the week. So coming back down. Okay, so pretty much, I mean, if you just look back here since, I don't know, 2 years ago, if all you did was just buy along this yellow line, the 200-day moving average, you're up. Okay? Anytime it touched that 200-day moving average, if you bought and you're looking at your account now, you're up. We're approaching the 200-day moving average again. Last time I bought was on the 200-day moving average. That was May 15th of last month. We're approaching that again. Might hit it. Hopefully we do. Have your limit orders set. I like a limit order on the 200-day moving average, which at this second is at $6.13. But the easy limit orders, $6, $5.60, and $5. G Mining Ventures up 7.4% for the week. Last week, I thought we would hit the red line, and we were so close, but no cigar. So actually, now that I'm looking at this right now, do you guys see it? Is there a trend line there? Kind of loose. I mean, this isn't a huge, well, it's worth over $1 billion. We'll just say that's a general trend line up, but not anything I think you can really bet on. So first limit order, $13, then 11, then 950. Rio 2, my favorite, actually killing it, just smoking this thing. Did we ever get up to $1? We did, $1.02. So coming up on a triple top here, just like all the gold stocks. I hope it blows right through it. Limit orders at 80 cents, 68, and then 57. And I probably need to raise all of these red and yellow lines and green lines on the gold stocks because they are smoking the competition. And silver is up 0.6% for the week. So it hit 3703. Okay, so long time since we've been up there, right? Since like 2011 or something. Next resistance is going to be the 3758. Okay, and then it gets kind of fuzzy. Like, let me back up here a little bit. I don't know, like 41, maybe 40 to 42, somewhere in that ballpark is where you've got a lot of resistance. So I don't know. I mean, I think we're getting a little stretched here. In the immediate term, this is a kind of a bull flag. I mean, it's not a real clean one at all. Not one that I would bet on by any means. But next support we got down here, I'm going to call 33, maybe 33.50 as support. That'll be around the 50-day moving average, and then right below that you've got the rising 200-day moving average, so that's good. But technicals are pretty stretched here, so it would not surprise me at all if we get a correction. And on top of that, a big warning here with silver, the banks are aggressively shorting it, okay? So usually the banks are right, and you know, I don't want to bet against the banks there, so I'm not going to take any longs on this thing. I'm not going to take any shorts either. I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and wait and see what happens here. But just word to the wise. Gold divided by silver, the gold to silver ratio is up 2.6% for the week. So gold outperformed silver by 2.6. It got down to 90 to 1. So we had 90 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. Closed the week at, we'll call it 95 ounces to 1. And PSLV is up 1.3% for the week. So still looks like the chart of silver, right? Kind of a bullish flaggish pattern there, but we got super high RSI, so there's no buys here. Like limit orders at 11.25, 10.50, and $10. SIL, we took profits the week before last. This position is now free. I like limit orders at $40, 36.50, and 33.50. And SILJ, same thing, up 0.1% for the week. So took profits week before last. You know, some serious resistance and kind of support about where we are now. Limit orders at $13, 11.75, and 10.50. And our hero, Ross Beatty, Pan American Silver, is up 1.3% for the week. You know, they're acquiring MAG. I think this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be a great performer for the silver bull market. I don't know if we're entering into the parabolic phase, but my guess is no. Rick and I talked about this kind of at length in our first interview, and he thinks we're about 25% of the way through the precious metals bull market, and typically silver hits around the 50% mark. Okay. I'll also talk about that in our newsletter. In the you can check it out. It's a free newsletter, and as a no spam. You know, I'm not going to sell your email to some marketing company or something. It's just you and me once a week. Comes out at 10 a.m. Pacific time every Sunday. So it's a summary of all the guests that we have and this weekend show. It's a one-stop shop for the plan for next week, and all the links for future guests and where you can submit your questions. So link is in the pinned comment below, or go to stevebartonmoney.com and let me know what you guys think of the newsletter. Either shoot me an email or put it in the comments below this video. Adam suggested that we start putting up some charts. So maybe take some screenshots of this and put up some charts. What do you think? Is he off his rocker, or you guys want to see charts in the newsletter? Any suggestions, anything? I'm all welcome. Thank you. All right, and copper, paging Dr. Copper is down 0.7% for the week. It fell like we thought it would. Now I'm kind of looking for a bounce. See, when you get a bar like this, let me put this on candle and maybe it's easier to see. See how it like quick wick down and then price action up? I think that's a pretty good indication that that copper's going to go up, at least for the short term next week. Nice support there on the 50-day moving average. But, you know, this is just a new trend line that I drew right here. 3 points, 1, 2, 3, right on the 50. You know, yeah, I think copper's going up next week, short term. But I really still want to see it come back down to this white trend line where we can back up the truck on more of these copper stocks. Gold divided by copper. Gold outperformed copper by 3.9% for the week. So last week it took, what is that, 690 pounds of copper to get 1 ounce of gold. This week it takes 717 to get 1 ounce of gold. So pretty strong looking flag pattern here. I'm getting kind of excited about this because there's nothing I like more than volatility to the up or downside. So what this is suggesting is that if this chart goes up, gold will radically outperform copper. And so either gold goes up and copper goes down, or some variation of that. Maybe gold stays the same and copper just tanks. I would welcome either one. Yeah, we'll see. That's what this chart's suggesting, is that gold is going to radically outperform copper. We'll see. COP.U. This is physical copper on the stock market. I got a sell order in here for $8. We'll see. It's kind of coming into this descending like triangle pattern right here, which usually kind of, it's like a ping pong, bing, 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 and then it bounces like one way or it goes the other. So I'm not sure which way this is going to resolve, but I think we're going to know here in the next week or two. We'll see. We'll see. My money is on the upside, but we'll see what happens. We can wish in one hand and you know what in the other. COPX is down 0.7% for the week. So we are above the 200-day moving average, which is awesome. I moved the red line up. Also, a lot of support around the $38 to $39 with the 50-day moving average and 200 weekly. So I moved the red line up. I think it was just too low before I had it down here. 38.50 is your first limit order, and then 32.50, and then 29, and I should probably move those up as well. COPJ, just absolutely killing it, up 0.9% for the week. I wrote smoke show to the upside. 13 million assets under management. Whoops, still on the drawing tool. There we go. Limit orders, and these I probably need to move up as well. Honestly, the red line should probably be closer to like $20. I've got it at 18.50, 17.75, 17.35, and then super stink bid 16.55. I think I'm just a little biased because I got them so cheap down here. I'm hoping it'll do it again, but you never know. There's some pretty volatile moves in copper. Maybe we'll get lucky. RSI of 74, though. There are no buys here. And Freeport is down 1.3% for the week. Trying to break through that 200-day moving average. See if I zoom in right here. It's up above the 200-day moving average, then fell below it, closed above it. But what would honestly be best for this right here is if in a kind of do a bullish consolidation, just kind of grind sideways here, just above the 200-day moving average. That would be what would be, in my opinion, best for this stock. But we'll see what actually happens. And Derek says, you need to look at hot chili. I have a lot of people telling me about that. Largest copper deposit not owned by a major. I have looked into it. I've listened to their presentation out at the Rural Symposium. It's just not for me. Okay. Last I checked, the CEO owns 640,000 shares, which is less than half of his annual salary of $700K per year. So that gives me the impression that he's not going to work as hard to make this project a success when it's such a small portion of his annual salary. So maybe I'm wrong, but I like having quick little cutoffs, for these companies. And as soon as I saw that, then I wasn't interested. Uranium is down 0.9% for the week. So it had a little pullback here in the spot price. Not to worry. Do not concern yourself. Gold divided by U308. Gold outperformed U308 by 4.1%. Gold is again outperforming U308. Yes, Mr. Repetitive. SRUUF up 4.8% for the week. So although the spot price of uranium went down, the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust went up. So we closed above the 200-day moving average. Let me look at this on the weekly, just see what we got. Okay, so not quite enough history to get a 200 weekly here yet. But that support, quite a bit of support, is going to be around $15. And then we got quite a bit of support right here, rising 50-day, rising 20-day. Now, For a lot of you guys, I know I was a little too cheap down here, and my last limit order at 12.50 missed by a nickel. I know a lot of you guys were not too cheap like me, and you got this between 12.75 and 13 bucks. Just word to the wise here, okay? You're up 30%, okay? This is like the I don't know emoji, right? You're up 30% here from the last one, and they just went to a premium over the week. So our kindergarten method of buy at a 20% discount, which you did, and then sell at a premium, this is where you got to click the sell button, okay? I'm not selling because I didn't get that back up the truck moment, so I'm not up as much as I would like. I'm only up a few percent. I don't know why I keep that arrow there. I guess I just like to punish myself. Let me just delete it so I can let that one go. I need to go scream into a pillow about it, I think. Okay, so anyways, not a bad time to sell right here, okay? All right, and where are we on? Cameco, CCJ, Cameco up 10.3% for the week. So last week I said, looks like a bullish pennant, but I could never bet on it going up when you have an RSI of 75. But it did go up. Look at that. Okay, so here's the bullish pennant. All right, so we got that. There's the pole, pennant, right? And broke to the upside. Let's do the measured target here just for S's and giggles. All right, so we go there, and we've almost reached it. Just about there. Okay, it's just got to go up a tiny bit more. What does that say? 69? 70 bucks. Okay, so another couple dollars. I would not be buying this with technicals so stretched like that. But, you know, then again, I missed out on that little bit there. I don't know. I feel kind of like sometimes you just, it ain't there. Wait for the setups that are like sure things. You know what I mean? All right, and URNM is up 3.3% for the week. So formed a little double top here. If I zoom in here, you can see it. So formed a little double top here and then broke out to the upside. So this might be kind of like what would be ideal for this, just like the Freeport chart, is if this just did bullish consolidation and rounded this 200-day moving average to the upside. Okay, that's what we're hoping for. And if I could write the script, that's how I would write it. URNJ is up 0.5% for the week, so still fighting that 200-day moving average. We need it to break through, and then after that, we will be in party time. Where's my party hat? There we go. That's what we need right there. Get above the 200-day moving average, and then we'll put this one on the chart for reals. Uranium Royalty Corporation, down 1.7% for the week. So it is above the 200-day moving average, which is fantastic. A little bit of a double top right there, then corrected back down. So it's caught in between support of the 200-day moving average, which is at $2.23, and this kind of rising it's not even really a trend line yet. There's only 2 points right here. We'll see if it comes up for a third. All right, Uranium Energy Corporation down 0.3% for the week. So same story here with this. With all these uranium stocks just fighting that 200-day moving average, just bouncing around it. As far as whether this is going up or down next week, I don't really see any particular patterns. I don't know. Down, I think. Falling volume, fell below that 200 moving average. Looks like it's breaking down a little bit on the MACD, but this is one of those like 55%, 45. I'd say 55 to the downside. URA up 7% for the week. So I bought a put as a hedge instead of selling some stock on the last run up. And this is working out terribly. It's going to expire next week, very likely worthless unless all of a sudden something happens and uranium drops out of the sky. So that is a put gone bad. And crude oil up 13%. WTI intraday crude oil got up almost to 80 bucks. It got up to 77.62. So a lot of tensions right now in the Middle East between Israel and Iran. And I remember Elliot telling us that he basically fades Middle East news and Middle East turmoil. He says it's usually just a spike and then it corrects one way or the other and everyone forgets that it happens 2 weeks later. I don't know if this is going to be the same thing, but you got an RSI here of 78. Yeah, I would guess next week it'll probably be lower. Brent is up 1.8% for the week. Gold divided by crude oil is down 8.7% for the week. So gold underperformed crude oil by 8.7%. Last week, it took 52 barrels of oil to buy 1 ounce of gold. This week, it takes 47 barrels of oil to buy 1 ounce of gold, which is historically cheap for oil still. And XLE up 5.6% for the week. So new guys to the oil space. This is a real easy beta way to play it. XLE, you get an ETF of a bunch of oil companies. And the two best and biggest ones are number 1 and 2 on the list, which make up a lot of the fun, Exxon and Chevron. So I like this one a lot. Almost kind of no, not really a shooting star there. What do you call that? Just a bull bar right there, fighting with that 200-day moving average. Fighting with the 200-day moving average. Man, this looks like it's going to break through, but I think crude oil is going to come down. So I guess I would go to down on that one. So your first limit order is going to be on this rising trend line right here. This is pretty accurate. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stops right there, so I think a limit order down around 82.50, maybe $83 would line up with that. And then after that, 79.25 and $75. And Exxon Mobil up 7.5% for the week. So this one looks fantastic. So all the stock that you guys got down here at $100 and down here at 102 is paying off handsomely now. You're up, what is that, about 10%? Where's my little ruler tool? There we go. So we'll just say you got it 102, thereabouts. Yeah, up about 9.5%, 10%. And look at how it closed here. So nice little bullish bar right there above the 200-day moving average, opened and closed above it. So that's fantastic. So no buys now in these oil stocks. Your time was last week, the week before, and then back here during Liberation Day. So hold off, wait on it. Chevron is up 4.1% for the week. I also don't see any buys on this, but I like Exxon a lot more than I like Chevron. And, how are you going to know when to buy these? Well, I'll tell you how. By this software, TradingView. This software gives you confidence to buy and sell without fear. You basically look at the indicators and you can kind of cherry pick these bottoms here. Like, look at this one down here, RSI of 17. Anything below 30 is usually a good deal. So 17 is a smoking deal. And look at that. Just cherry pick the bottoms here with this software. You can try it out for free. There's a link down below in the show notes. You don't have to pay for it. And you can't get all these cool indicators and all these drawings and everything on here that I can with the free version. But, it gets you started. So try it out for free with the link down below. And thank you for doing so. Using that link, you support my family, my work, and the In It to Win It team. There's no obligation. If you don't like it, it was free. And Canadian Natural Resources is up 7% for the week. So it's kind of bucking this trend line right here. This is a pretty loosely drawn trend line. Not super, kind of went over it there and right there. But either way, this is a clear breakout right here. I would not be buying at this moment. We got a dividend that just went ex-dividend on Friday. We got a few of those. And, clear breakout though, above the 200-day moving average. Let me get this red line out of the way so you guys can see that. I think I need to move up the red, the yellow, and the green lines now. So looking good for Canadian Natural Resources. I know a lot of you guys got in down here at $25, so you are killing it. Blackstone Minerals up 1.8% for the week. Rick recently gave this one a, what did he give it? He gave it a 5. That was a couple days ago. But yeah, limit orders down here at $13.50 and then $13. Natural gas down 5.4% for the week. So it went down like we thought. Next level of support is basically kind of now. We're at $3.58. I see support right here at like $3.50. So yeah, pretty much now. And then the 200-day moving average, which is rising, that's at $3.31. So a lot of support right below it. Resistance on the upside is going to be $3.80. Devon Energy up 8.7% for the week. So $30 seems a little silly now. Hopefully we get a correction there. I'd like to see this hit the 200-day moving average and correct back down to the $30 level, just to get a little bit more. It got real close right here last day of May. It got down to, what is that? The low of $30.75. No, sorry, $30.24. So almost hit the $30 limit order. I'd like to see it hit that one more time before they finally go off to the races. Canadian natural gas, Birchcliff, is kind of a shooting star here on the daily. This one's up 7.5% for the week. But see this right here? That almost always means that this is going down. That's what it looks like, right? So, yeah, pretty likely that we're going to get some kind of correction here. And that makes sense, too. We got a dividend that went ex-dividend day on Friday, shooting star. And on top of that, the RSI is 76. So probably going to get a correction here. But, you know, nice to be in this one. I think that natural gas will do very well. Pado, same thing. Up 6.9% for the week. I know a lot of you are in this one with me, and our little limit order right down there of $10.60 is paying off handsomely, up over 40%. No buys now. Limit orders $13, 12, and 10.65. And coal, thermal coal up 0.6% for the week. Met coal down 1.5% for the week. They're still both trading kind of in the lower part of the range. And our favorite coal ETF is up 0.1% for the week. So it's staying above the 20 and the 50-day moving average. So just kind of keeping right along there. It kind of feels like there's a short-term floor in here of like 1675, somewhere in that ballpark. So maybe a limit order there if you want to get in on some coal. Glencore is up 1.8% for the week. This is one of my favorite companies. I really like this one a lot. Still in just kind of established uptrend. We have broken through the 50-day moving average convincingly, and now it's starting to ride the 20 on its way up. Getting high in the RSI. There's no buys now, but next level of resistance is going to be the 200-day moving average and around $8.40. So they'll probably both coincide about that level. So that'll be some pretty hefty resistance. AMR is up 1.8% for the week, still looking for this bottoming pattern. And BTU, Peabody, up 3% for the week. I still don't see any tradable patterns unless you want to like dollar cost average, like, you know, kind of get some now along this 50-day moving average. Looks a lot like the coal ETF. I don't think this is a terrible place to do it. But as far as like options world or playing a quick trade or something, I just don't see a pattern other than that 50-day moving average. All right, and platinum is up 3.8% for the week. So had an amazing run, breathtaking, and had a pretty good correction here on Friday. It was actually down $63 per ounce. PPLT, platinum on the stock market, up 4.7% for the week. So here's our limit orders down here, 85, 83, and 80. I'm going to keep those there because there is a real chance that this could come right back down to those again, which would be kind of a bummer. You know, we've been in this for like 2 years, and, you know, these levels down here, we're up 35% right now, but I'm in these things for doubles and triples, so I'm hanging tight. And Emil says, my bullion dealer regularly puts out a newsletter. A month ago, the above ground available platinum was only 4 months of supply. Now, only 1 month later, it fell to 3.5 months supply. And on some exchanges, there is no platinum available. If this continues, we will see much price appreciation in a short period of time. It happened with rhodium 7 to 8 years ago. It can happen with platinum also. Fingers crossed. Lobo and I went quite a bit into platinum, and so did Rick and I, so make sure you check out those episodes. I hope you're right, Emil. I'm literally betting on it. Palladium down down 1.7% for the week. Still like limit orders around $900. I don't know if it'll get back down there, but that's the level I like. And so on PALL, physical palladium on the stock market, I like 85, 83, and $80, just like platinum, or just like PPLT. And SPPP is up 6.3% for the week. So congrats to everyone that got in on this one at $9, paying off handsomely. And Rick brought this one up, Bravo Mining, and let me just show you here, pretty small market cap, 220 mil. Now look at this, look at closely held shares. So more than half the company is not being sold. So only this orange part over here, 47% is available to us, okay? So super small market cap company, Brazil based. They're looking for they're explorers looking for platinum, palladium, rhodium, gold, nickel, I think a tiny bit of silver too. But anyways, I don't see any buys here on this one. I would be looking to maybe enter down around $1.50, maybe like a starter position here at $2, and then yellow line around $1.75, and then green line around $1.50. Okay, if you're interested in Bravo. Platinum divided by silver, finally getting a little spike up of where I made my personal silver swap for platinum. It takes 33 ounces now of silver to get 1 ounce of gold, or 1 ounce of platinum. And gold, it takes 0.35 ounces of gold to get 1 ounce of platinum, or you could think of it as 3 platinum coins for 1 gold coin, or the other way around, 1 gold coin for 3 platinum coins. Looking good. Keep going. You got it. You can do it. Nickel futures down 2.5% for the week. So kind of sticking around this $15,000 line. And NIKL down 1.5% for the week. Putting in what looks to be like a little topping pattern here. Might end up getting an island reversal. Got a lot of support right underneath it here at the 200-day moving average, which is around $11. Centaurus metals down 8.8% for the week. So still like buys here in the lower part of this channel. So, anything around 22, 23 cents, somewhere in that range. It's at 25.5 right now. And the Bloomberg Commodities Index up 1.9% for the week. Shot up on Friday. I'm not really sure what happened. I'm guessing that has to do with the oil embargo, right? Or not oil embargo, what am I saying? The tensions in the Middle East, that account for oil. So last week we saw a triple top, which I thought would break out, and turns out I was right. Not for the reasons I thought, but it happened. Next level of resistance is basically now, and then after that is going to be 107.50. Iron ore is down 0.8% for the week. So we had a nice little drop here on iron ore, kind of trading at the lower part of the range. That's going to affect this next company, BHP, who are big iron ore developers now, or miners. Possible little inverse head and shoulders here. So got downward sloping. So basically you want to see this on kind of a downtrend, and it wants to be at the end of the downtrend, right? So shoulder, head, shoulder, and if we're going to break out here, we take from the head up to the neckline right there, and then we will extend this up. The breakout would be right there. So this could come up to 61, and after seeing this, I might actually buy I don't know, maybe a 6-month call on this. I've run options on this before, and it has been quite profitable, so maybe I'll do it again. We'll see. And the PIC ETF, Metals and Mining Producers ETF, is down 0.8% for the week. So finally broke through the 200-day moving average and then fell right back down to close below it. So what, just like the other was Freeport and the other ones we're pointing out, it would be great for this to get above the 200-day moving average, grind it out, and then have the 200 moving average rise to the upside. We're off to the races. And Bitcoin is down 1.1% for the week. It as far as patterns here, okay, so I was playing around with some fib extensions right here, and let me go to the Fibonacci extension. So we'll take the low of right here, basically that kind of cup pattern, and go to right there. Okay, now we could see that running the Fibonacci extension, okay, from the low of the cup to the handle down to the bottom of the handle, and then up with 100% retracement around 109, 110, 111, kind of depending on where you land this thing, whether you don't take that one little intraday spike or you put it up there and you don't. But 109 to 111, all right, good enough for government work. Now, the 161.8% retracement will land you right up here at 147. So that could be some potential price targets right there. Now I'm going to run another one on the recent run up, and we will go from the low here to the high down to the low and see where it projects up from there. So we'll take it down here, up, and back down, and we'll go right there. And this is, again, do we take it from here or do we take it down here? Okay, so if we'll take the conservative one, okay, and we'll go right to there, not taking this intraday spike right there that happened in August of last year. All right, so that conservative one, some upside targets right here would be 117, 129, and 163 for the 161.8. Now, before we all get too excited here, I think it's more likely that it actually goes down. And those levels that you're going to want to watch are going to be this one right here, which will be the 50% retracement, which will be 101,000. And then we have another retracement down here, which is the 38.2% retracement. And that is going to be, it's tough to see the numbers there because they're blending right in with the price action, 94,000, and also lines up right here with the rising 200-day moving average. I think that one's more likely. I don't think it'll happen necessarily the next week. This might get caught by the 50-day moving average, but those are your levels that you're going to want to watch. To the downside, 100, 101, and then after that, 95, 94,000. And to the upside, we've got 117 and around 130. Okay, I hope you guys got something out of that. Be sure to support the show. First and foremost, hit the thumbs up, the like button, share this one with anyone that you think needs to hear it, subscribe if you're not already. And if you're going to use some of the products and services that I talk about on the show, please use the links down below. They're affiliate links, so it doesn't cost you any extra, and you support me, our editors, and our families in the process. There's also a donation link to PayPal down below where you can donate, and then join the free newsletter. Go to stevebartonmoney.com for that. The newsletter is free, but there's a lot of links in there that get back to the cause. So you get to try it out. So thank you all for your support. I love doing this. I love being here. You have yourself a great rest of the day. Go to stevebartonmoney.com for more and have a wonderful day.